Hello everyone, I am back with another diary. In the two previous entries, we talked about shots on the sell side and on the buy side. So here is a recent one on the sell side. But the thing is, it's all fake. And what I mean by that is that these were all on Emulator. I was using that to show you what different scenarios might look like. I was placing risky orders just to get a lot of trades in so that I could find good examples. I was checking out how things work, and this is the result. Over the last 2 weeks, I've got 1,400 trades, and the total P&L is about 700 USDT. But those USDT are fake. Nothing I could do with my balance of 210 would make me earn this much money. And of these, about 260 were losses and about 1,100 were profits. So if there were no losses, I would have had over 900 fake USDTs. So in this video, I'm planning to talk to you about what emulation is good for and what it is not so good for. First of all, emulation does not account for fees. As you can see here in this column, for every single transaction, for every single trade, the fee is exactly 0. And that creates a problem. That creates a detachment from real life. As you may remember, when you pay fees, every loss you have is now bigger, and every profit you have is getting smaller. We can look at the real trades instead of emulated ones here in the filters, and this gives us what? Almost $4 in profit, but for that I paid $2.3 in fees on top of that. So you see the difference. With my low volumes here, fees actually play a role, a big role. But for emulation, this is not a consideration at all. Number 2, the second difference is also right here at the bottom. You see these numbers here? It says Binance 24 milliseconds and Core 135 milliseconds. This is what is called latency or trade latency. This means a delay in communication between various points in the whole trading ecosystem. So there are 3 main points. Number 1 is this terminal that I'm running on my local computer. Number 2 is the Moontrader core, which is running on a remote server 24/7 so that I can close my laptop and go to sleep. And number 3 is the Binance servers. So between 3 points, there are 2 connections. This one is from Core to Binance. Right now it's a modest 27 milliseconds. Sometimes it's faster, like 8 or 9, and sometimes it's larger than that. And here, the core is the latency between my local terminal and the core on a remote server. I do not have an industrial network connection right here, so this is quite a bit larger than the one between big servers of Binance and big servers of Amazon. So when the market is more or less flat, not much trading is happening, like right here. Bitcoin is more or less flat. There is not so much movement. And that means that the servers are not overloaded and they can communicate quite efficiently between themselves. Now, when there begins some action, when Bitcoin is all over the place, all the other coins are going crazy, that's when the bottlenecks expose themselves. And the latency can go as high as 10 seconds or 15 seconds, and that is a problem for real-life trading. Imagine you have an algorithm that sends instructions to Binance, and like right here it says move this order right down because the price has moved. And it does so quite quickly. For my buffer here I have a 1 second delay. But if the latency is 10 seconds, the instruction is not being sent to the exchange, and you may end up with an open position at the price where you did not want that. So that has to be considered in real-life situations, but for emulated mode, this is not much of a concern. So it all happens in the core, and it's visualized in the terminal, and as long as the core receives data from Binance, it moves the orders, it closes orders all by itself inside the core, and it does not need anything from Binance except for information about the price, the order book, and all of the other tons of data that it gets from Binance. So, latency is an important piece of the puzzle which emulation does not necessarily take account of. Another thing I was thinking about is whether emulation takes into account the size of the order book. So to test that theory, I made my algorithm with an outrageous order size. So right here you see 10,000, I put 50,000 in here and try to see what happens. The one thing that I found out is that emulation actually takes into account the maximum order sizes allowed on Binance. There was a coin and it showed me that the maximum order size is exceeded, and it did not place any virtual orders, any emulated orders. So that's pretty good. We know that emulation accounts for that. Then I made the order size a bit more reasonable, $10,000. You can see it right here. And that's actually the reason why in my reports here on emulation I had such huge numbers, because I made emulated orders with huge order sizes. And in one transaction I could get, let's see what I could get. Yeah, like $149 per transaction, per trade, $160. I don't have that much money actually. If I had $10,000, well, less than that considering the leverage that Binance gives. But anyway, these order sizes are far beyond my capabilities right now. All right, so what was I saying? I was saying that I wanted to check out whether the order book is taken into account. So with all these latest orders, the order size in my algorithm was 10K. Here we're pretty close. Well, actually, look at this one. The order size is 3,600. And next to it, there are no trades with this coin, AMB, which to me is an indicator that emulation does actually take into account the order book. If it were just faking it, I would have had around 10,000 USDT here, but here I only have 3.6K. So that might indicate that the order book is taken into account, which is nice. Because in real life, huge orders, not that I've placed any, but from what I know and from what I understand, order book plays a very big role. If there is not enough supply or demand at a specific price where you placed your orders, it's not executed fully, it's executed only partially. And that piece of the puzzle is taken care of here in the emulator. Maybe there is something else to it that I'm not aware of, but that's what I'm thinking right now. Another thing that you may have guessed is that emulation does not care about your real balance. I am placing huge orders, they are executed fully or partially, but the real money that I have would never be enough for that. And if I place big orders or a lot of orders, then I would run out of margin pretty quickly. And when doing real trades, you always have to take margin into account. Another thing is that Binance does have the limited number of orders per user per coin. But I have not tested that on emulation, and in real life I'm not probably gonna exceed that limit, but we'll see. So these are just a few things that I thought about what emulation is not so good for. That's a lot of points, so you might ask, what is it good for then? Well, it is good for, first of all, making these types of videos, because I can replicate different trading scenarios and show you what I want to show you. Number two, it allows me to experiment without risking any real money. So I can place these huge orders, I can use extremely unsafe distances. You know, this is 0.5 or 0.6, let's see. This is 0.6. So I'm trying to be somewhat realistic. But I could place it at 0.2 with emulation and see what that looks like. Another thing is that I'm just getting used to the terminal, getting to know it without risking any money. If I don't know something, then I probably shouldn't use real money, or like very, very small amounts. But that's actually going to be my next step. So enough with emulation. I think I got more or less comfortable with the basics of shots. And for the next video, I'm planning to do the following. I will have an emulated algorithm, and I will have a clone of it, but it would not be emulated. And I will see how they perform against each other. I will probably use a less order size, a smaller order size than right here. That would be crazy. And I don't have that much money yet. But yeah, we'll see next time how they perform against each other and whether all the theorizing that I've been doing here in this video is actually proven or disproven. That's a fun experiment, and I'm pretty excited about doing it and showing to you what actually happens. See you next time.